In the late 1500s, a group of English settlers established a colony on an island off the coast of North Carolina. When a supply ship returned to the colony 3 years later, it found that everyone had vanished without a trace. The only clue left behind, the word Croatoan carved into a tree. What happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? Today, we investigate one of America's oldest and most baffling unsolved mysteries. Hi, I'm Zach, and welcome back to Unsolved Mysteries. If you enjoy delving deep into mysteries, then be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Today, we're exploring one of the earliest unsolved mysteries in American history, the disappearance of the Roanoke Colony. Join me as we uncover the story behind this eerie event and examine some of the theories that might explain what may have happened. In 1584, Queen Elizabeth I granted a charter to Sir Walter Raleigh to establish a colony in the New World, on the coast of what is now known as the United States. After two failed attempts to settle in Florida, Raleigh's men set their sights on Roanoke Island, located off the coast of modern-day North Carolina. The first group of settlers, led by Ralph Lane, arrived in 1585. However, due to the tensions with local Native American tribes and a lack of resources, they were forced to abandon the island and return to England. But Raleigh wasn't ready to give up. In 1587, a second group of settlers, including women and children, was sent to establish a permanent colony. Among these settlers was John White, the colony's governor. Shortly after the arrival, White returned to England for supplies, leaving behind his daughter, Eleanor Dare, and his granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World. White's return to England was delayed by the onset of the Anglo-Spanish War. It wasn't until 1590, 3 years later, that he was finally able to return to Roanoke Island. But when he arrived, there were barely any signs the colony had ever existed. The settlers had completely disappeared. Their homes were dismantled, and the only clue left behind was the word Croatoan, carved into a tree. The word was the name of a nearby island and a Native American tribe that had interacted with the settlers. But there were no bodies, no sign of struggle, and no other clues as to where the settlers had gone. Despite an extensive search, no trace of the lost colonists was ever found, and John White was forced to return to England empty-handed. The mystery of the lost colony has remained unsolved for over 400 years. So, what happened to the settlers of Roanoke? Over the centuries, several theories have emerged to explain their mysterious disappearance. Let's take a look at a few of the most prominent ones. One theory is that the colonists were absorbed into local Native American tribes. The word Croatoan, carved on the tree, has led many to believe that the settlers had sought refuge with the Croatoan tribe, located on an island south of Roanoke. Some accounts from later explorers and settlers suggested that they had encountered Native Americans who had fair skin and spoke English, possibly descendants of the lost colony. Evidence for this theory includes reports from the 1600s, where early English settlers claimed to have encountered Native Americans who appeared to be descendants of the Roanoke settlers. However, no concrete evidence has been found to prove that the colonists lived or survived among the Croatoans or other tribes. Another theory positions that the Spanish, who had a strong presence in Florida at the time, might have attacked the Roanoke colony. Spain and England were rivals, and tensions were high between the two nations. Some historians believe that the Spanish may have destroyed the colony to prevent it from establishing a foothold in the Americas. While there is no definitive evidence of an attack, some theorists point to the possibility that the colonists had fled after an attack only to later be killed or dispersed. The lack of Spanish records from this period makes the theory difficult to confirm. Another more tragic theory is that the colonists simply succumbed to disease starvation, or natural disasters. During whites' absence, the colony was cut off from outside help, and the settlers may have faced harsh conditions that led to their eventual deaths. Some researchers speculate that the survivors may have attempted to leave the island in search of help, but perished along the way. Evidence of widespread disease or malnutrition has not been found, but it's possible that the colony's survival was not sustainable in such a harsh, unfamiliar environment. Critics of this theory counter that if they did perish under such conditions, where were all their remains? One final theory is that the colonists tried to relocate to a new settlement but got lost or died during the journey. Some historians believe the settlers may have moved to a more fertile area like Chesapeake Bay or even further inland where they could start anew. However, there are no surviving records that indicate such a move was ever made, and the absence of any remains or settlements complicates this theory. The disappearance of the Roanoke Colony remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. Whether they integrated with Native Americans, fell victim to disease, were attacked by the Spanish, or disappeared for other reasons, we may never know what happened to those early settlers. What's clear is that their fate is tied to the haunting word Croatoan. The mystery remains unsolved to this day. Do you think the settlers of Roanoke survived? Or did something more sinister happen to them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more explorations into history's most perplexing mysteries. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time on Unsolved Mysteries.